in my parking lot, there is an ice cream truck, which means one thing and one thing only. I live in Orlando, so enjoy the ice cream truck noise in the background if you hear it. But today you are here live with us, ready to take down the DailyWire. Welcome to Chaos Corner. Yes, I'm your host, Alex R. Wagner. The R stands for real. I am the real Alex Wagner. And this is Chaos Corner, where we give you all of the news chaotically thrown together through clips that you've seen with your coworkers in the box corner of chaos. But first, as always, we gotta start with our main story of the day, which is, I can't believe it, y'all. I can't believe this. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Well, I'll just pull that out because remember before, if I don't let the intro run out, then I can't play it for the outro. Anyway, I'm Alex R. Wagner. I'm here today, very excited to talk to you all about the worst business decision anyone's ever made. We're gonna take a break from looking at any of the hot clips of the internet because there's one clip that's 52 minutes long that just gets more and more hilarious the more you watch it. To make sure that this is in true Chaos Corner fashion, we're gonna be smoking some weed and drinking a screwdriver. The ladies' drink. So Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro have no idea what to think here. I'm doing commentary, smoking weed and drinking a screwdriver about two conservative people that are fighting with each other, bickering back and forth over a contract. But there's one person that is solely right here, and that's Steven Crowder. And there's one person that is truly the devil incarnate, and his name is Ben Shapiro. Oh, wait. Oh.
You can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good, and I'm done with that.
Yeah, okay. So that wasn't what I was trying to get at. I was trying to get at the one with...
You could lose $100,000 a day. You could lose $100,000 a day.
I'm going to keep that sound effect for forever.
You could lose $100,000 a day. You could lose $100,000 a day.
And you want to know why? It's because you can. You can lose $100,000 a day. But don't you worry. We now know that contract... It was worth $50 million. Oh. Over 4 years, $50 million, which bleeds out to about $1 million a month. We'll get into all of it because we're going to be watching the video all the way through with commentary. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen a CEO of a company do, let alone a streaming company. And seeing as how I own a streaming company with Kimberly DePersia that would do much better in this scenario with little to zero cash up front because we've experienced the shenanigans on the comedic side, it's rather interesting to me to see people actually back Ben Shapiro on this. There's no backing Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is fucking Walmart. Ben Shapiro is fucking Amazon. Ben Shapiro is a fucking hack. No doubt about it. Steven Crowder is 100% right. And once again, even if you don't agree with his politics, you can't help but if you have any kind of moral compass, continue to defend Steven Crowder to the ends of the earth. This has been a long time coming, but we've been seeing this a little bit ourselves. We've been looking at the DailyWire and the way in which they put videos together. If you go and you look up the response, which my thumbnail is the response in retrospect. So if you look up Steven Crowder DailyWire response and you see Jeremy, the CEO's video, in the bottom of the video, they will give you all the hashtags that they're trying to trend for this video that apparently is just for Steven Crowder and for a reflection to the fans. And in those hashtags, they will hashtag things like big tech, and they will hashtag things like censorship and suppression or censoring all or whatever. big conservator. But they're also hashtagging Steven Crowder and Steven Crowder and Louder with Crowder. It's just a desperate plea to get any kind of ad revenue they possibly can. They are clearly changing gears here with this Disney thing. They're becoming more anti-Disney and less free speech advocate. And I think that they're fine with it. I think in 5 years, you could see someone fired from the Daily Wire for posting a Jewish tweet. Oh, wait, just like Gina Carano, a Jewish reference tweet, and that person being fired from the Daily Wire. Why? Because the Daily Wire is following the same thing that they're complaining about. They are continuing to live in this world where ad revenue runs their lives rather than them running their lives as creators. There's a reason that at the end of the day, the largest star, the biggest one of all of them, Mr. Beast, would never take a TV deal. Because any TV deal, they're looking to stripe you of your hard-earned cash. And that's what this is all about here. We're going to watch this, and you will all see. I'm not going to push harder on this because we're just going to have fun. But they're pretty much doing it to Steven Crowder.
They're all in a box. They're all in a box.
True internet suffered to pressure.
That's Jeremy. That's Jeremy.
True internet suffered to
You could lose $100,000 a day. I haven't been happy for a while.
Neither have I, Steven Crowder. You want to know why? Because people are acting like this doesn't fucking matter. And it matters. It matters more than anything. So without further ado, let's get into this. Let's start looking at this Jeremy Bono. Ben Shapiro didn't want to make the comment himself, but then he was so classy that he made a tweet later, which then Matt Walsh, the big blowhard he is, was like, you gave me a great documentary. Everyone that's supporting the Daily Wire at this point is supporting slavery. You're supporting corporations. You're saying, thank you for the explanation on how business works. You're right. You don't have to have morals. You're a business. I don't know why you wasted 51 minutes of our time, Jeremy. We already knew that, the point of business in your mind in this large grand scheme with these big fucking companies is to make as much money as possible. And you got to let us do that, right? Here at Envy, we look at it a little different. We look at it as a family. And it's very funny that you continually, every fucking motherfucker on the Daily Wire continues to put out statements. We were friends. We were friends. The only goddamn time that I ever saw anyone interacting with Steven Crowder in a pleasant manner was when their table of Jewish people with the yarmulkes on fucking election night or on New Year's Eve, and they just cut to them on the Crowder fucking feed, and it's people were watching the Crowder feed. That's the only reason those guys even showed up to say hi, because they wanted the cross-pollination. Nobody's watching a fucking live feed of 5 business Jews complaining on New Year's Eve while they eat sushi. No one wants to watch that shit. We want to watch interesting, dynamic things. And of course, if you even look up Ben Shapiro, he immediately says that Steven Crowder is a personality and not a journalist. Well, why are you claiming that you're a journalist then, sir? Because you're fucking not. All right. Coming from the industry, seeing all this shit happen, seeing that, SAG-AFTRA is better than this garbage, it's interesting. And if you're a conservative, if you're watching on Rumble or Twitch or any of these third-party apps that aren't on YouTube, thank you, first of all. But also, the reason you're here today is to be educated. And I'm going to educate you. The person smoking weed and drinking screwdrivers as a male straight from Orlando is going to educate you on how this fluffy, duffy, liberal, big league shit works. And I'm going to educate you on how your people, the conservatives, the Ben Shapiros, are fucking people over worse than Weinstein ever did. Stealing money left and right. So here we go. Here's their explanation for stealing all the money.
All right. Our friend Steven Crowder has launched a new initiative called
about that,
Stop
guys.
Big Con. And in the video announcing the launch of the project, he talked about leaving the blaze and all the different offers that he fielded from other conservative organizations and what he thought were the real problems with those offers.
Can we stop first? The first thing that I got to just say is that, like, why are you addressing this? It seems that you're addressing this and saying what Big Con is. One, because either you want in on the search, just like me, just like the rest of us, or that you're actually scared because you're losing subscribers. And if you're not losing subscribers, this 52-minute video, it's definitely going to make you lose some.
And that's led a lot of people to speculate about whether or not the Daily Wire is one of the people who made him an offer. In particular, are we the ones who made the offer that he put up on the screen and talked about at length?
Yes, we were.
And
We're
the answer
slaves.
is yes, that offer did come from the Daily Wire.
Okay, explain yourself then, bro.
Trying to hide that fact. I'm not ashamed of that fact. In fact, I think it's a very good offer. But I think there's a lot of
A good
sort of
offer.
misconceptions about
We'll get to that.
the nature of the offer, the nature of the points. I think Stephen misunderstood a lot of the points. And so the way we do here at the Daily Wire, we're just going to be incredibly transparent. You know that we like to have our members be a part of the journey. We live stream all of our company town halls, for example.
Okay.
We just find that sunlight sometimes is the best disinfectant. And so with that in mind, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we came to be in conversations with Stephen, how those conversations ended, and walk
This
you
just is
line
the
by
worst
line
idea
through
I've
what the
ever
actual
seen in
document
my
that we sent
life.
over to him, a non-binding
Okay.
term sheet, what it actually said and why.
Here we
First
go.
thing you should know is that I'm really miserable to be making this video. Stephen's been my friend for 10 years. I think he's
I haven't been happy for a while.
maybe the most talented person working in the
Everyone's
conservative,
miserable, bro.
media space. He's one of the top entertainers.
I
in
haven't
the
been
country,
happy for a while.
Politics notwithstanding, a great comic voice, and I find it really tragic that we're having this kind of
It's tragic.
conversation.
Then why are you having it?
But
You didn't
it's
need to
also
say
very important, I
anything.
think that
I
that
haven't
we
been
talk
happy
about
for a
it,
while.
in
You could lose
particular
$100,000
because
a day.
I know a lot of people who are fans of the Daily Wire were really offended by the things that Stephen said in the video, and
You
they're
could lose $100,000
concerned
a
that
day.
maybe we're doing the wrong thing. And I think that by the time we finish this video, you'll understand what we were thinking with our with our term sheet. And how we
Lots of
operate as a
explanation.
business a little bit better.
Let's go, bro.
I've wanted to be in business with Stephen since the day that I met him.
Does he even have
Ben and I tried
lenses
to do
in his
some
glasses,
movie
or is
deals
he
with
wearing
Stephen
fake lenses?
before there was CRTV and
I
before
think he's
there
wearing
was
fake lenses, guys.
a Daily Wire.
Isn't that even
For that
worse?
entire time, we've talked at length at
Oh
various
my
times
God.
about getting together and doing
Talk
things.
about
Of
a
course,
liar.
For most of that time, he's been
A
under
snake.
contract first at CRTV
Snake
and then at
right
the
there.
Blaze. And so we weren't able
Patagonia's
to, and,
fucking
I don't know,
jacket.
from time to time during the years, we would get together and daydream a little bit about would there be a future for us to work together.
But you
if we
never
were in
worked
that
with him,
deal.
so why are you
We
acting
got
like
word
you
that
did?
Stephen was finishing up his time at the Blaze and was interested in having a conversation with us. And so we reached out to his agent, and we said, "Listen, we'd love to have
That's
conversations
another
out of it."
thing too. They're treating this as though there's agents in this game. There really isn't. You have to, for most of these people, you have to reach out to a open source email booker, and it's very hard to get in contact with anybody that's actually industry approved or understands what's going on. The gates are kind of sealed because these people don't really understand, like they're not part of a larger schemed industry. So while Steven Crowder might have an agent, his agent isn't listed on IMDb Pro. His agent, I'm not calling up CAA and saying, "Hey, sir, can I get one of the 5 agents that's working on Steven Crowder? I have an offer to send over." There's no ability for me to even do that. So this is an internal circle situation that he is inflating to make it seem as though there's this huge industry and that he did this out of common practice. It might be common practice for the other talent on his roster that he got, but it's definitely not common practice in the industry because, again, I'm not calling up the number for the call center for Steven Crowder to get his team of agents to send something over. There is no agent like that for Steven Crowder, even though he is a multi-million-dollar candidate, as we now see from this contract.
Day that a monster talent like Stephen comes on the market, we'd be bad businessmen if we didn't engage in a conversation with him. We weren't sure at that time if there was a deal.
You're a bad businessman for what you did here.
For one thing, we're friends with Glenn, we're friends with Tyler, we're friends with all the guys at the Blaze.
Are you friends
we
with
weren't
them?
sure that we wanted to commit to making an offer to Stephen. And Stephen's an expensive talent. I mean, he's been in the business a long time. He has an enormous fan base, and we knew that it would take a lot of doing to get him over to the Daily Wire. This at the same time that we're investing very heavily in kids entertainment content and making, real television content, streaming
Okay, then why even try?
scripted fiction like the Pendragon.
So you're saying he's not valuable? He was really valuable, but he's not
when we have
valuable.
the resources, we weren't sure. But again, you have to have the conversation.
Uh-huh.
And we were happy to have it. So
Okay,
we reach
let's
out
have
to
the conversation then.
agent, and we say that. We'd like to have a
This
conversation
random
with Stephen,
agent
kind of
that
get
no
into
one
the
knows.
details of what's he looking for?
Who's the
what's he
fucking
looking for
agent?
financially,
What's an
he
agent's
looking
name?
for in terms
Give
of
us the fucking
structure,
agent's name.
what would make his life better? What would make him happy? He's got this opportunity now to have a next chapter. What's he want that next chapter to be? And Stephen's agent candidly just wasn't interested in any aspect of that conversation. He only wanted to know about the money. He said, we're not going to have a conversation. We're not going to have some abstract talk. We're going to send us an offer. Tell us how much money you're willing to pay. And he gave us an indication of what the minimum number would have to be in order to even have a discussion with Stephen. And it's a big number. So we talked about it internally, and we decided, we should do that. We should send over an opening offer, a non-binding term sheet that takes a stab at what we think that minimum number is going to be, to get the conversation started, so that we can sit down with Stephen, so that we can see
The
if,
minimum number
if
that
there's a deal that'd be
covers.
good for him and good for us, and that's what we did. We put together the term sheet, we sent it
So,
over, and we
okay, so you have an agent that is clearly inexperienced, that you're communicating with privately. It sounds more like it's a manager. If it's a manager, maybe it's the booker. Booker, I've heard rumor, is just his dad. So we may be talking about Steven Crowder's dad here, or someone close to him in that retrospect. He's trying to get as much money as humanly possible for his client, as any agent even would. And you can say what the minimum numbers are, and you can say what the minimum offers are, but it's your responsibility to give an offer that you can stand behind. And so it's very interesting that we already got Jeremy here, 5 minutes in, and we haven't even pulled up the contract yet, and he has explained away why exactly they offered him everything they offered him. We offered him a lot of money because his agent told us we had to, and that was the only way that we could make it work, and offer him that amount of money, and here you go. Well, it kind of backfired, because now we all look at the back end and we see what DailyWire is really about. And we'll get more into it. Here we go.
get on the phone and have a conversation with Stephen. I'm going to walk you through that document, what it says, what it doesn't say, some of how Stephen.
And I'm going to walk you through how he's misrepresenting himself.
Feels like he was being accurate, but
misrepresenting DailyWire, misrepresenting
based on the text and
decorum.
Stephen's a very passionate guy. I think that he's doing his level best to stand against what he sees as an injustice, but there is no injustice.
Okay, so again, here we go. So Steven Crowder made a large assumption 30-minute video that said there was a big con. I'm not going to mention any names because I hope that these companies can change their ways. I hope they can get through and they can do what they need to do. But right now, there are large conservative outlets that are attacking me. He just said that Steven Crowder has no cause. So he willfully accepts that he is the one that's here at the center. If you guys haven't seen the Babylon Bee declaring that they are actually what Steven Crowder's talking about, that's the best video on the fucking internet. So go check that out on Twitter. It's amazing. But this is an acknowledgement that not only were we the ones that Steven Crowder was talking about, but we also are going to say right now, right here and now, that everything he was asking for in that video, anything he was angry about, is nonsense. It's pointless. It does not. It's not computing to us.
As I think you'll see, and then I'll tell you what happened right after we sent the document when I finally did get on the phone with Stephen. So first, here's the document, the non-binding confidential term sheet. I'm just going to walk you through it.
Confidential term sheet.
This non-binding term sheet sets forth the basic deal points of a proposed content production and distribution agreement between the DailyWire LLC, the Texas Limited Liability Company, and Steven Crowder via his loan out, so that if and when the parties elect to move forward with a long-form agreement, they can move quickly in preparing a definitive.
You guys seeing it? 50 million.
That means
we'll get to it. Here we go.
Conversation starter, and we're obviously going to have a negotiation if we move forward, and a lot of these points are going to get beat up. And for those of you who've never been through a contract negotiation, well, that's how it works. When you send someone an offer, you don't send them everything that you're willing to say yes to, because there is going to be a negotiation, because agents.
Okay, so they're talking to everybody as though they're fucking ignorant, as though they don't know how to negotiate. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can't highball to the point of no return. If this is local car salesman approach here with Mr. Jeremy, okay, here we go. All right, I go up. I'm like, oh, okay, I see the Lexus. How much is that, sir? And they're like, $300,000. I'm like, well, I don't make $300,000, so I can't buy a $300,000 Lexus. The end. Could I have bought that Lexus for $225,000? I'm sure, but I don't have $225 either. So, like, when you fucking shit on the contract and smear it up your own butt and then hand it to the other person and say, well, negotiate your way out of it. There's nothing to negotiate. You want him to be a slave. We'll get into it. Here we go. We're going to show. First, you guys see the 50 million, though, first.
You can't read their mind. You don't know everything.
Can't read their mind.
Everything that they'll want. You don't know even, some of their sort of non-negotiable points. And so you send over a loose offer, and then they're going to beat it up a little bit. They're going to say, well, this should be higher and this should be lower. And you're going to come back and say, no, we're going to stand firm here, but we're willing to compromise there. And over time, you either get to a deal or you don't get to a deal. But that's how a good faith negotiation always works. 100% of every interaction I've ever had with any talent, that's the process.
We all agree. You're perpetuating something, but you went too far.
A 4-year initial term with 2-year renewal at DW's sole discretion.
Okay.
That just means Steven's going to work for DW for 4 years. And if it's going really well, DW can retain him for an additional 2 years.
Okay.
2, the fee. Remember, this is the minimum number that we thought would get the conversation started with Steven. $50 million for the initial term, plus $25 million for the renewal term, if extended.
Okay, let's look at that right there. $50 or $50 million for the initial term, okay? So over 4 years, $50 million, that's roughly $1 million a month, okay? And also over 4 years, that is totaled out to what do we got? Like 12 million a year, okay? 12.5 million a year, I think. Okay. Then we're going to go and we're going to say we're allowed to renew with you if we want to for another 2 years. And that renewal, we're going to give you an increase of $500,000 over 2 years. We're going to give you a pay raise of $250,000. We're going to pay you over $1 million, about $1 million a month. But if we option to renew, we want to renew and be able to only give you a $250,000 raise a year. Okay? There's where the negotiation starts and ends, people. It's already upsetting Steven Crowder. It would upset me. It would infuriate me. Okay, you say I'm valued at $50 million. Then if you want to retain me, you don't think that it's because I'm successful? The retainer should be what the purchase price was. So the 4 years extended to $50 million, okay? So $50 million over 4 years. The return, if you're a good businessman, so you get your contract signed, is that initial 2 years we can sign you for an additional $50 million. You can always negotiate down. You can always tell him, well, we don't want to sign a deal with you unless we go down because you're not doing all that well and we're your only option. But if you put $50 million over 2 years on that second term, what you're telling to the client is, we believe in you. The return is that we should be able to pay you double. If we have you for 4 years and you're a success and we want you for 2 more, it's because we can pay you double. Option to renew at that price. You know what I mean? It's just, but option to renew at $250,000 advance a year, you're just trying to keep and retain what you already got. Ooh, yay, we snagged him. He signed this shitty contract. And now, 4 years from now, if he's doing well, we can hold him and only pay him a little bit of money more.
Monthly installments. Like I say, a pretty big number, but we thought for a talent like Steven,
Bragging
this
about
is
the number
probably
too.
the
Doesn't even
minimum
see the
number to
problem
get us
with
in
what
the door
he's
so we can sit
saying.
down and talk to him.
Bragging about the problem.
3, production costs. This is important. We've never made a deal.
Okay, here, listen to
quite
this.
Like the offer
Listen
that
to
we put in front of
this.
Steven, because Steven, very independent guy. I mean, all of our talent have very independent voices. Obviously, we can't tell them what to say. You know, Candace says what she wants, and Jordan Peterson says what he wants. Ben, Michael, but Steven has always built in this protection for himself that he wants to actually produce his content. He doesn't want, you know, most of our guys, they come to the studio and we turn on the cameras.
Okay.
We point the cameras, we point the lights.
So you're gonna let him
Steven likes
produce
to do
it,
that
right?
with his own team to just make doubly sure that no one's
You're gonna let him
interfering with his
produce it,
content, not that we
okay?
would.
Okay.
And so we anticipated that, and we said,
We'll let you
Crowder
produce
will
it.
bear the burden of production.
Oh, what? Stop the phone right there. Okay. Y'all like, all right. So first, we're going to give him 50 over 4 years. Okay. Then we're going to say that if we renew him, he only gets a $250,000 a year raise. So basically just trapping him for those second 2 years. Saying that you don't have any faith in the client that you're trying to sign. You should be signing at a 50%. Always. If you're giving an upfront fee, at Envy, we have no investment because no one gets to tell us what to do. But if we ever took on an investment from someone and we were able to give out numbers like this and give out front offers like this, every out-front offer that we would give would be double on the retainer, on the renewal. It has to be. Otherwise, you're not giving any faith to the person that you're giving the contract to. You're saying, here's this and we'll pay you this, but also we get to keep you and trap you if you're doing good. What the fuck is that? That's fucking, it's slimy. It's slimy. You just say, no, we think that you're going to fucking do amazing. And if we want to fucking retain you, we'll retain you at this. I don't know. Then we got this guy over here now explaining that Steven Crowder wants to produce his own show. So therefore, he can pay for all of production, bear the burden of production, including all costs associated therewith on all of the content contemplated herein, except on the, I'm sorry, it's like really tight, but we can get back because he'll read it out loud. But listen to this shit.
On all the content contemplated herein, except on the quarterly and annual content contemplated below.
Okay, so that's the thing, is that is insulting on its face as well. So you're saying, okay, this person we know wants to produce his own content, unlike other people. He doesn't want to come into the studio and use our content and services at all. We don't have to pay for anyone to shoot any of his stuff. Okay, he can pay for all of it. Great. So now let's go back to math real quick. So we have $50 million over 4 years. Okay. And then we are going to take the cost of production. So let's just say 10 people's salaries. 10 people to do a podcast that's valued at a lot more than that. I mean, you know, what do you think? I think that sounds about right. All right. So if there's 10 people and we have $1 million a month, how much can those salaries even be? Including the producer of the show, including the fact checker that keeps the demonetization act, all that shit. He bear all of it. If he wants to do it himself in his room like Alex Wagner is, he can. But if he wants to have any of his guys or pay for any of that, he can pay for it himself. Okay. So it looks like Steven Crowder already is only making like $100,000, $200,000 a year if he's pushing it with his employees. Or a month, right? Yeah, because we got $1 million a month. And we're down to like, about $100,000 a month. So you're looking at like 1.2 million a year he's taken home after he just pays out the salaries of his employees. We got more. We got more.
A little bit later, it's kind of a novel concept. The quality of the production will be as good as or better than is currently existing content. This just, again, Steven's going to produce his own content. It has to be as good as the stuff that Steven's audience has come to expect from him.
So he still needs everybody. He can't do a show like me.
It's not like all of that $50 million goes right in Steven's pocket. He's going to use some of it to pay for producers and
yeah,
you
see that? That's what I'm saying.
Operators and lights.
So you already know.
Like we're going to use some.
This is $1 million a year
to
contract
pay for the infrastructure and the technology.
This is a $1.2 million a year contract. That means that you think that Steven Crowder currently, right now, according to you, because you even acknowledge that he's going to have to pay for all the staff and all the people and all that stuff, that right now you think that Steven Crowder is valued at $1.2 million a year. So in revenue, I think he might even just be bringing home more than that in sponsorship deals. Jesus Christ, man! But 1.2 million. Okay, so that's an offer over 4 years for essentially $5 million. $5 million over 4 years is what he's going to take home before taxes. But we still got other stuff that they're going to do.
And the marketing and the legal and all the other.
They're going to take care of
everything
everything else.
Making a successful
right?
business.
They're going to market it. They're going to do all the
says we'll have the exclusive right to realize revenue in connection with all of his content and brand. We're paying you this guaranteed significant amount of money, $50 million. And for that, one of the things we're buying is the content, but we're also buying the right to monetize the content so that we can have a chance of making some money and not just spending money.
Okay, so again, that's another crazy one because we're saying that they get to monetize any of his content because they gave him $50 million over 4 years, even though they acknowledge that the show costs. We haven't gotten there yet, so I don't want to say it yet. So let's just keep going.
The content. First, we broke this into daily, monthly, quarterly, and annual content. The daily content is going to be very obvious to you. He'll deliver a 1.5 hour Louder with Crowder audio-video show of a quality and kind consistent with the shows that he's currently producing 4 days a week. That's 192 original episodes a year if you factor in 4 weeks of vacation, including all ad reads and promotion.
Okay, all right, okay. So only 4 weeks of vacation, 4 days a week, 192 episodes a year. Hour and a half. So one, already a little bit insane because the show was only an hour and the extra half an hour was for the Blaze, was for the Mug Club, was for his own little thing. But I guess they're deciding that the show is an hour and a half so that they can do the same thing with the Daily Wire. So they already are letting him know that too. They're already saying, hey, okay, so because we gave you this money, even though we didn't really give you this money because you got to pay for everything, then because of that, we're going to make sure that you have to pay for. Where were we at? Oh my God, that's crazy.
By us. So he's going to continue to produce his show, his Louder with.
What was that? Oh, it was the vacation. The vacation. That's what it was. It was the vacation. It's the 192 episodes. So let's take a gander at like the Daily Show. Because the Daily Show is on cable. It's not on network. Okay. And I'm sure that Trevor Noah is just getting paid just to host, not produce the entire show himself. But if you were to look at, let's just take a gander at this year. Let's look at this now for a second, people. This is a little crazy. So 2023. Oh, no, that's that. No, we can't do that. We got to do, okay, over this. Okay, so per year, 133 episodes. 133 people. Okay, 133. All right, let's go to like Jon Stewart era. Okay. 160. These are 22-minute episodes, by the way. 160. Let's do Tonight Show. with Jimmy Fallon. Let's see what they're hustling their hustler right now. Like NBC Universal. Like what are they making him do? A year, huh? He's done this for 10 seasons now, right? Okay, so let's see. This year, he did 193 episodes. So they think that this is the same as The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Okay, so then let's take a look at that. How much is Jimmy Fallon paid a year? Let's see if we can get this. Salary a year, $16 million. And he is not producing the show himself. NBC is paying for the show. So again, when Steven Crowder says, you know, this is worse than the liberal big corporations and big tech, it is. This is worse. Do you not see this? This is like a totally illegal non-SAG contract from Ben Shapiro and friends. Let's just keep going. So if we pull him back, let's see what you got to say now.
With Crowder, audio video show of a quality and kind
So
consistent
he thinks
with
it's
the
the
shows
Tonight
he's
Show.
currently
He thinks this
producing.
is Stephen
4 days
Colbert.
a week. That's
Stephen
192
Colbert,
original
not Stephen
episodes a
Crowder.
year if you factor in 4 weeks of vacation, including all ad reads and promotions as requested by us. So he's going to continue to produce his show, his louder.
And again, those networks don't do ad reads. Their entire show is an ad. All right, let's keep going.
So 4 days a week, 192 times a year. And that'll include us being able to put ads in it and promotions in it.
Okay.
They'll be filmed in studio daily, Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
At least 1 hour of them will be outside the paywall. That's much how Stephen already operates. That's the part that goes out on podcasting. It's the part that goes out on YouTube. It's the part that goes out on Rumble.
It's
and
to
at least
do the
30
same
minutes
thing
inside the DW
and send
Plus
it into
paywall.
the Daily
So,
Wire.
in the same way that right
So
now,
they're going to get every single, because they already monetized. Remember, everybody, they're already monetizing everything. So they're going to get all the money from any of these ads, but they're also going to get any money that they get from subscriptions, because none of that goes to Steven Crowder as well. He gets $50 million, but the $50 million he has to pay for his own show. And he only has $12.5 million a year. So that doesn't seem like a lot of money. So we're down to 1.2. We're still at 1.2. Let's see.
he has his Piss Off YouTube segment that has historically been at Blaze. Well, he would still do that same kind of concept. 30
Oh,
minutes
so you
of the
just
show
want
would
to
now be
steal
behind
their shit.
our paywall. Crowder can bank or pre-record a limited number of episodes upon our approval and reasonable discretion. Days without new original episodes will be scheduled in advance, subject to our reasonable approval. What's this about? Well, a guy like Crowder, you know, in addition to his 4 weeks of vacation, there's just also going to be times where he, for whatever reason, maybe he's got a speech, maybe he's got a stand-up comedy gig somewhere around the country. If he were to come to us and say, hey, I can't really shoot a show on Thursday because I'm going to be doing this stand-up gig, that's fine. Let's shoot 2 episodes on Tuesday and we'll roll one of them out on Thursday. It's just giving us all the maximum flexibility to still make
Oh
the
my God.
episodes.
Okay. All right.
But for Stephen to be able to live the other important parts of his life.
For him to make all of his
192 episodes. Obviously, there are 260 work days in a year. Most Americans work 260 days a year minus 10. That's 2 weeks of vacation. So they work about 250 work days a year. And we're telling Stephen, you've got to produce 190.
Like, again, you're talking about a industry contract with a high-end level talent that you're evaluating apparently at $50 million and saying it's so much money, but then you're going to immediately compare him to a blue-collar worker? You're immediately going to tell him, well, most people work 5 days a week, so this is kind of stupid. Well, sir, look at this fucking guy, this fucking shithead. You think this guy works 5 days a week? You think he fucking works 5 days a week? He don't even have fucking lenses in his glasses. The motherfucker don't work 5 days a week. Jeremy from the Daily Wire does not work 5 days a week. So Jeremy from the Daily Wire should not be talking about how many days a week Steven Crowder gets to work. Okay? Because it's not comparable to be like, well, Steven Crowder doesn't work 260 days in a year. And it's like, Yeah, but neither do you. So, all right, bro. This is starting to get...
So
Wow.
already, even to say
I just
4
need to
weeks
get
of
to the
vacation,
fucking fees, man. The fees are the bullshit.
you know, that is probably above average, but it doesn't really capture the reality of this, which is there are going to be, 60 days basically of the year where Fridays, we call them, where Stephen basically doesn't have to produce a show.
Oh, wow. He
And you
doesn't
may
have to
say, well, that's
produce a
still a
show
lot.
on
I
a
know Stephen says
Friday?
that's
Oh, my
more than
God.
even,
Thank you so much.
network TV would ask for. Yeah, these are points that can be negotiated. I still think
Right, but it isn't more than what cable TV asks for. And again, network TV is not asking Jimmy Fallon or Stephen Colbert to produce all of the fucking content themselves with their own money that you're giving them. This is the dumbest deal ever. And if they dupe people into thinking that this is supposed to be good or normal, oh man, we're in for a world of hurt coming forward in the creator community. I'll tell you that, like above and large. So just understand, if you're in support of what this guy is saying and saying Steven Crowder's being baby, then wow, like then you don't want to reach success either. You don't understand what it takes mentally every day and what you need to support in an artist. Man, it's crazy.
feel like, if you're only working 4 days a week and you get 4 weeks off every year and you can pre-schedule even additional time to be traveling by banking episodes, you would at least say, you may think, well, he needed to negotiate that and get it down to 170 or something. Sure, I thought he would, but it's certainly not unfair to expect someone that is making $50 million over the next 4 years.
Okay, so he said that he could have brought that down to 170. That's the first admission, remember. So that basically gives you the detail that this guy is only, every time that he was open for negotiation, he's going to tell you what that would have landed at. And so he's basically saying like, yeah, this was 192, but we wanted to start network and we could have worked down to like 170. Just 10 more than The Daily Show. Just 30, 40 more episodes than The Daily Show at triple the amount per day. Because it's an hour and a half, not half an hour. But, got to do what you got to do. You got to be bigger and badder than Viacom. Is that what it is, Ben Shapiro? You just love this shit and you want to be just like Viacom? Well, actually, you're worse than Viacom because you're making Steven Crowder work an hour and a half in that contract. And Trevor Noah's only working a half an hour and not even producing the show. So again, here we are.
Monthly content. What is monthly content? Well, at DailyWire, our members
so more
are
content,
entitled to
more
an
content,
all-access once a month with most of our talent. And that's where our members get to interact with them, sort of one-on-one, ask them questions. So we're saying once a month he would have to do a 90-minute all-access and any promotions and ad reads that would go in that. Right now, there are no ad reads in all-access. But again, you're giving yourself, it's a 4, possibly 6-year deal. You're giving yourself a little latitude for things to change. Quarterly content. We asked that Stephen would produce one major promo video and photo shoot.
Okay, so here's a promo video.
Coordinated by us.
Live
for
Q&A a
his
month.
content at the company.
Now he's doing a photo shoot.
4 times a year. Come in and
Steven Crowder's doing a photo shoot for the Daily Wire.
Marketing assets to be able to go out and sell subscriptions, sell Mug Club, sell any merch that we were doing with him.
Sell Mug Club, yeah, for us, because as we will get to.
And one backstage episode a quarter or other major live event and VIP experience. So, and annual content. This was a new concept. We said that Stephen would do one feature-length entertainment special.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's like
How
a
fun.
stand-up comedy special.
Yeah,
and
just
that Stephen would do one
small
feature-length political
stand-up comedy special.
And that's like a documentary, like What is a Woman? This is something we're doing with all of our talent now. You saw it first with What is a Woman with Matt.
Oh, what an opportunity!
He brought us this amazing
is he going to pay for that
documentary?
Is he going to get paid more for it?
Greatest Lie Ever Sold. And we've got a lot more projects like that in the work with our other talent.
So they don't get paid for more for it.
Become an important part of our business model.
So Matt Walsh had the opportunity to do What is a Woman and probably was not paid a cent extra for anything that happened with that film. Are we still thinking the Daily Wire contracts are A-okay? No, people, they're not. I see too many comments agreeing with this. It's insanity. It's insanity. There's too many people out there that are agreeing with this huge narrative that you need to run a business on advertising, which, again, subscribe right now. If you're catching this, you're catching it solely on your own. We don't have any advertising at all. We don't run any. We hustle and we push out as much as we possibly can constantly, but we're constantly switching. And we switched, and to kind of get into my cancel culture moment real quick, I started with Funny or Die, and we worked with Funny or Die for our first 2 seasons of The Egos in Central Park in New York as a sketch comedy group. And then in the 3rd season, Funny or Die died. We actually were the second to last, or maybe even the last video on the front page. It was a sketch that we did called Funny or Die with The Egos in, I believe, season 3. Then from there, we moved to Amazon Prime with a new opportunity where we could, expand and make all this money based on completely on watch time. Amazon Prime was going to pay us on watch time. But,
you could lose $100,000 a day.
It came with some caveats. The caveats were that, as we grew, they suppressed. So they came up with more and more rules to obtain to, starting with captioning, promotions, ratings, qualifications that trying to push you out unless you have money or a corporation behind you or some sort of money backing. And from there, we kind of let go of it. We still have some things on VOD over on Amazon Prime, but we've moved completely past it. Most of our content was pushed out. The Egos was absolutely pushed out by them. And we had numerous films that were pushed out by them. And eventually we decided to make our own website, mvpictures.com. And then from there, we partnered with Vimeo. We don't have a great relationship with Vimeo. We are very reluctant to be working with Vimeo. Not good business partners. We just pay them the cash. They give us the technology. That's how it works. It works. And hopefully it will continue to work, but we really do need people like you to subscribe. $40 a year. We're on the iPhone, we're on iOS, we're on Apple TV. And we're never going to run these ads and these gratuitous contracts and inflated shit. That's what you do. You go in, you get an investor. The investor invests in advertising because they have faith in the person. And then from there, the spiral continues because then you give money to the contract, and then the money from the contract escalates to more money being spent in marketing, and then more money being spent in marketing means you can't pay as much for the contract and all this fucking other bullshit that doesn't need to be there because we're already all making stuff. And you see successes with Mr. Beast, you see successes with Joe Rogan, you see simplicity in the marketplace, and that's what we're here to try to achieve. I'm gonna go a little bit more with him. But man, it's getting weak, and I'm gonna summarize soon. I just really want to get to the fees. If he doesn't get to the fees soon, I'll talk about the fees, and then I'll explain basically what Steven Crowder's left with here.
Key though, he doesn't have to pay for that out of his $50 million over the next 4 years.
Oh, thank God! Okay.
We would pay an additional amount every year for that. In the case of the political documentary, we'd give another $1.25 million of production costs. In the case of the entertainment, depends on how it breaks down, but we'd give between $500,000 and $2.5 million more dollars. So you're talking about.
Okay, but he's acting like they're giving this out. They're owning the content that they buy in return, and they're not paying him anymore. They're just giving him a budget. They're giving him a budget and telling him that he has to go and do a special and has to go and do a political documentary. They're not giving him any more money. This isn't how networks work. This isn't how business works. This isn't how the entertainment industry works. And like it or not, we can kill the wokeness. You're not going to kill the way that the entertainment industry does business. And that's what they're trying to do here. They're trying to Ponzi scheme their way out of this shit.
Just this is more than 8 figures over the 4 years, in addition to the 50 over the next 4 years. And then E, additional Crowder content. What is this? I don't know, but presumably
so more shit for him to make for you for free
that either he wants to do or we want to do.
Oh, thank you.
So we built a sort of catch-all bucket.
Oh,
if
cool,
we and
fun,
Crowder
catch-all.
mutually agree to create additional content not currently contemplated, then we'd pay him $15,000 a day.
Oh wow, awesome!
For that shoot. And again, a lot
awesome.
of that.
So awesome. So that means that like he can again, like every day that he wants to shoot extra, we'll give him $15,000. Okay, so if you want to shoot more, if you want to like work overtime, we can give you like $15,000 as a budget. Again, we're not giving you anything. You go and figure it all out. We're just giving you $15,000. So we think that you, as well as all of your equipment and all of your people on any given day, is worth $15,000. Okay? So if that's true, let's see if our math adds up then. On any given day, the crew, as well as himself, to shoot for a day would cost $15,000 according to the Daily Wire. So 365, that's putting you at 5.47 million, okay? A year. Times that by 4, we're looking at 21 million, okay? So 22 million. So they're assessing that every single day. Well, no, I guess that's wrong because that would be 365. So that probably does check out right now. Let's keep going.
Money in his pocket if we do something extra. Item 6, the back catalog. Crowder will license his entire back catalog, including without limitation,
Okay.
every past episode of Louder with Crowder to us during the term. That just means that all the episodes that already exist would also be behind our paywall during the term. At the end of the term.
Right there. That's it. That's the face of weakness, bro. What? Oh man, when you're trying to explain yourself, okay? And you start with the answer and then you immediately go into a but. He literally is like, yes, we will steal all of his old content and put it behind our paywall and no one else can see it. But once we're done, why are you saying but, bro? Why are you saying but? Like literally, why are you saying but? Like, let's pull this back a little bit here. Like, why are you saying but? I just want to know. Like, why are you saying but?
To us during the term. That just means that all the episodes that already exist would also be behind our paywall during the term. At the end of the term, all of that content that we didn't actually pay for would revert to Crowder at the end of the term.
Oh, he saved himself from saying the word but basically he was saying but. he okay, he's a smart guy.
But we would have it in the meantime.
But we
7 ad reads and promo reads.
Again, what that is that's called syndication rights in the industry, people. That's a whole nother fucking division on anyone's watch. You think they like over here being like, okay, we want to greenlight the next season of Friends. We will pay you all outright to go and produce your own show. And then when you guys go and produce it, we're going to take all the old seasons of Friends and we're going to put them on our network as well. And you're going to get all of the rights to all of your royalties and everything. It's just one check instead. Said no one ever.
Exclusive right to sell ads on the Crowder content on all platforms, channels, websites, apps, widgets, pages, and lists owned, branded, or controlled by us.
It's just so gross, too.
And on any Crowder owned or controlled social channels, email lists, websites, etc., including louderwithcrowder.com. And it says remuneration for that is included in the fee. So what does this mean? Well, this is just how are we going to make first that at least bare minimum.
You're just bad at explaining everything, but even this, I'm like, okay, you're good on these. You're good on these, bro. You don't need to over-explain these ones. Like we don't even care on these ones.
Plus infrastructure, plus marketing.
We get it. You want to use the fucking TV show Instagram page.
Well, how are we going to pay for all of that?
Okay, bye.
One way is we're going to sell ads on all this content.
Yeah, you're going to sell ads.
You know this is how we handle all of our shows. He has
Is
to.
it? Is that how you
Item B,
Holy
Crowder will
shit,
read
that
the ad
sounds so
copy and
shitty.
promos as requested by us, though he'll have.
It sounds so shitty as a network. Okay, please subscribe to the Daily Wire, where we believe in ads.
rights to disapprove of some ad sponsors for various reasons, right? He can disapprove of like 10% of the ones we bring him. He can disapprove if
10%.
he owns
So they bring
equity
him
in a direct
7
competitor of
abortion
one of the
clinics.
advertisers
He can
that we bring
only
him.
deny
But
4 of them.
Point D, if he doesn't read the requested ads within that framework, then the content that he made won't be counted as delivered under the contract, because it's all fine and good that he made a piece of content, but if we can't make any money off of it, then we're just paying him so that he can make a show. We're not paying him so that we can.
But you still have all of the episodes behind a paywall. Why? just asking for a friend. Why put them behind a paywall if the only way you can make money is if he does these ad buys for you? Again, subscribe to the Daily Wire, where we believe in ads. You can pay for us, but really it's not about you. You can fuck off, subscriber. I'm in it for the ads, says the CEO.
In any of the success of that show. 8, ownership. This is a very important point. Daily Wire will own all of the content created herein and will own all of the DW created channels and brands created by us during the term. And to be clear, we can exploit those channels, brands, and content in perpetuity at our sole discretion. What does this mean?
Well, what that means is exactly what it's always meant, which is that when an artist leaves and you think they're associated as something, and then all of a sudden they, get a new contract, and then they lose their ability to say their own name or whatever. It's this fucking arbitrary, ridiculous business practice in liberal media that shouldn't be here when we're talking about a free speech network that's putting hashtag canceled and hashtag fucking censorship on the video that I'm currently watching. I don't understand. All right.
Means just like all of the back catalog that Crowder would have been bringing over, we would have a license to have that all over at Daily Wire.
Why do you need a license if you
during the 4 to 6 years that Crowder was
again? Why would you need a license if you literally can't make money unless he does the ad buys? It will be counted as not delivered if you don't do the ads, because we can't make money off of it if we don't do the ads. Also, here's all this content that we are now licensing off. Why are you licensing it, bro? For what? The guy didn't do the ad buys. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't exist now because he didn't do the ad buys.
At the end of that 4 to 6 years, he would take all that content with him.
Oh,
a little bit different with the content that we're paying.
A little bit different. We get to keep it.
During the course of that content.
You just told us that he has to pay to. You just told us he has to pay to produce it. He has to pay himself to produce it, but we're paying millions and millions of dollars. Oh, what? In fucking marketing? Fuck your fucking marketing. Some fucking large ass gamble on the goddamn street with someone's life and their livelihood. No. This is about supporting an artist, a controversial comedian, a conservative, sure, as well, whatever. But if you're a brand and you're trying to bring him in, this ain't the fucking way to do it, bro. And it's not the way to get anybody else either. Because if you think that you're going to clarify to the rest of us that this somehow isn't shitty, you're just looking like a fucking snake. Because we've all been here before. We all know why not to sign these things. We all know if you sign an exclusive deal with your brands, that all of a sudden when you leave, you won't be allowed to say the name of your own show anymore. Which he's hashtagging on there. I haven't seen Steven Crowder call it louder with Crowder. So I'm just saying that that's the kind of things that happen in deals. And there's no reason to ever have them in deals. So regardless of where you want to be like, well, this always kind of happens. This is always how it is. You can fucking fix it and not fucking be a shithead. And why would you want to take an artist's brand away from the artist? Ever. You shouldn't ever want that. The purpose is to make money off of the artist, sure. But the purpose is not to steal the artist's brand and force them not to be able to speak their own brand. That's not what this is about.
Would always stay with us. We would have a sort of perpetual right to monetize that content even after
Perpetual,
Crowder
too.
would leave.
Perpetual.
And
we don't have to
know,
negotiate these rights later. We're going to get them
Matt Walsh
forever.
would leave the Daily Wire, presumably at some date in the future.
So you know how there's like all these negotiations with different studios, okay? So we're looking at the number one creator independently right now in the conservative divisions, and then we're looking at the number one studio. But if you're looking at studios up against studios like Friends, for instance, how many times have we seen large transfers of Friends optioning off rights to one another over the last few years? Same thing with Seinfeld or with South Park, okay? These are big, huge deals that you can do every 2 or 3 years. You're drawing an assumption for perpetuity? That he can't ever negotiate back rights to anything that he's made with you ever. That's the baseline. That's where you start. With an independent creative artist that has a YouTube channel, you start there. Come on, man.
Well, what as a woman would stay here? Because we paid for that. We paid for the marketing of it, the production of it. You know, we paid him for the time in which he created it. And so this contemplates something very similar. We would still have the right to the things that we make. As far as channels and brands, I'll get to that in just a minute because it's addressed more.
And again, Matt Walsh was not a hot ticket commodity until he was on the Daily Wire making What Is a Woman. So that's a perfectly non-example example. You're looking at someone that you're saying is valued at a lot of money, apparently. You gave him a lot of money, apparently. Well, if he's worth a lot of fucking money, and he's in the top 10, like, most controversial and largest YouTubers out there. He's a huge, huge fucking figure, period. And it's crazy to be sitting here saying this.
As we go. Adaptation rights. All this says is that anything that Crowder says on any of this content, we can adapt it down into written content and put it up at DailyWire.com.
That makes sense. They always do.
We already do a lot of this. You transcribe something that Ben says, you transcribe something that Michael Knowles says, and we can put that out as an article. They don't actually have to do the work of rewriting their thoughts.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
10 additional DW rights, merch rights. It says DW will maintain the exclusive.
I thought there for a minute that you were making Steven Crowder regurgitate and retranscribe his own actions. Come on,
right,
man.
To create and sell Crowder and Crowder content branded merchandise, and the remuneration for that's already included in the fee. So one of the ways that we can make money, put ads in a show. One of the ways that we can make money, sell subscriptions around his content.
Well, it sounds like you don't do very many subscriptions, sir, because you just keep talking about ads all the time.
Ways that we can make money is be responsible for his merch. Now, that would mean that we have to pay for the creation of the merch, pay for the marketing of the merch, but we would own.
Which makes me think you use the
email
snake
list.
oil of free
DW
speech.
will maintain the exclusive right to manage, grow, and monetize all Crowder email lists.
Oh, so the thing he just got really pissed off at.
An enormous team here at the Daily Wire, and some of them full-time think about email. So that's a burden that we would take off of Stephen, having to manage his own email list, just like we manage and pay the expenses on the merch. But we'll get the upside of that. Remember, we're trying to fill that 50, 60, 70, $100 million hole and to make profit. And the profit gets poured back in so that we can pay for all the infrastructure, all the technology,
this criminal trying to
all the other ways that we're
what a criminal.
Social
I would
media
never.
Something
You
that
are
Stephen seemed
done,
particularly
sir.
aggravated
That's
by
it.
in his video, although I don't understand why.
This is pathetic.
It says DW will have the exclusive right to manage, curate, and monetize his official Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Snapchat, Rumble, and other social media accounts,
Right.
excluding his existing personal Twitter and Instagram
Oh,
accounts.
wow.
So
Awesome. Oh, my God. Why would we exclude those? Maybe because if Steven Crowder gets canceled for something he says on his Twitter or Instagram, the Daily Wire can go, sorry, we never said anything about the vaccine. It was him over there. Bye. And then they get to run their fucking ads for Pfizer for eternity. That's what this is. This is a whoo boy. This is a ouchie for these guys. They think that I'm going to let go. I hope no one lets go. Don't let go. This is pathetic. They are literally holding out on one issue, pharmaceuticals, and they're dividing their entire purpose of being, like all principles, out the fucking window for the Daily Wire. All for the vaccine.
Others. Well, we're saying that during the term, we have, of course, he puts
And
his
that's
podcast
not
on
to
Apple
say,
Podcast.
and that's not to say that you should not go and get your vaccine. You should always go and get your vaccine. You should get every vaccine that any doctor recommends to you. And I mean that sincerely. Okay.
In the Apple Podcast. So this is just making clear that, yes, we're selling ads in his podcast. The podcast goes out on Apple Podcast. That revenue comes back to us.
Why?
We put
What did you
up
do
on Facebook? Same thing. We bring in ad revenue off of that Facebook piece of content. But we're gonna.
You haven't done anything
during the term.
During the term, and then we'll give it back to him. So we won't steal it forever. We won't steal his YouTube money forever. We'll just take all of it for 4 years, and make him pay for everything still. And he thinks the $50 million is going to survive. Okay.
Obviously, at the end of the term, he's going to get his official Facebook account back. He's going to get his official YouTube account back. He's going to get his official Apple Podcast channel back. But during the term, again, all those people behind us, we've got experts in every one of these platforms, how to optimize it, how to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. And we'll manage that and we'll collect the revenue. But not as Twitter and Instagram, because those are very personal channels. You can't manage someone's Twitter. I can't speak for Candace Owens. I can't speak for Ben Shapiro.
You can't. Yeah. Joe Biden doesn't.
If only
have
I
anybody
could. I would like what they say a lot more. I mean, as you know about Daily Wire, we have a lot of disagreements sometimes between our hosts. Presumably, if I could control everything that they say,
that's why
there'd
they're
never
all
be any
saying things on
disagreements. They would
Twitter
just all
now
be right
about
all the
this
time, like I am.
situation, including Matt Walsh.
That's not the case. We're saying, of course, he needs to
much.
control his own Twitter voice. Of course, he needs to include his own Instagram account. We get this a lot where people are like, Jordan's Twitter has changed since he joined Daily Wire Plus. I have nothing to do with Jordan Peterson's Twitter account. I don't have login credentials to his Twitter account.
There's
I've
a
never
reason
asked
for
him
that. Why are you
tweet anything?
Why are you
not
acting
tweet
like that's
anything that'd be way outside of the bounds of?
Why are you acting like that's a principled thing? You're doing that to protect yourself, you dildo. Oh, please, please, please tell me again how you, as a corporation, are taking all of the money from all of the revenue streams that have any type of monetization, but the two that don't, that are more personal media that cause conflicts for people in public, you're not a part of because of free speech. Oh, please. Oh, please. Come on. Give some bullshit to someone that will take it. No one's taking it, bro.
It's acceptable because that's a very
he don't have lenses in his glasses too. It was the dumbest shit ever.
Medium, Instagram. It also says that we will have the perpetual and exclusive right to create, own, manage, curate, and monetize any and all social media accounts. Oh,
fun! So you can create whatever the fuck you want as well,
based on Crowder's content or shows.
Right, which again, we know what that is.
Well, Crowder already has enormous social channels. He got like 6 million.
Example, what if
he's one of the biggest voices in the movement.
Woman and a woman.
But what happens if we create a documentary like What Is a Woman? Well, sure,
you've created only one documentary, Facebook, apparently, because you just only use your one little bit of success as a ploy in this whole.
Or a YouTube account that's just for clips from What Is a Woman. Well, that wouldn't belong to Matt. That would belong to us because What Is a Woman belongs to us. And that's what this was meant to say, that all of the stuff that Crowder brings over, that's his, Louder with Crowder and all, his Louder with Crowder accounts, all of that. Well, that's his. We're going to manage it for him during the term. We're going to monetize it during the term. At the end of the term, all of that's going to go back to him. He said that was not what it says in his video that he released, but you can read right here. That's exactly.
Hey, guys, guess what? All right, he's not going to get to it, so I'm just going to get to it. There's a $100,000 a episode retainer, okay? All right, so if we look at that real quick here, meaning that if he doesn't show up to work, they say he owes them $100,000, okay? So over 192 a year times 4 years. We're looking at an evaluation of $76 million that they think the show and Steven Crowder are worth a day to them. But yet the offer is $50 million. the math is, it just doesn't add up. It's also a lot to put on a person. There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues, a lot of bullshit that no one needs to deal with, let alone Steven Crowder. So, yeah, I'm just gonna end it there. I can give it a little bit, a second more here. I just had our Twitch pop up for a second there. What's going on the Twitch? The Twitch is the Twitch. Oh, okay, nothing important. Last thing, less comments.
It's only during the term that we control that. But the things that we
Let's spin it out.
YouTube, it's unfortunate that YouTube has chosen to.
Over here.
And it's where the money is. It's also where Steven Crowder has made his entire name. He's the biggest conservative YouTube star of all time. You know, he put out his video criticizing us in this contract.
So again, you acknowledge that Steven Crowder is bigger than all of you, and yet you're going to give Steven Crowder a deal that is below you. Not a partnership, not ability to create and grow together, but a option agreement to purchase and buy something that you are forcefully making with direct fines, if not taken seriously. It's not how it works. Not with the producerial angle. That's not how it works. No one is doing that. No one is telling, like, James Corden is like making his own show. Like, they're like, James Corden, here's all your money. You go and produce the entire show. You do all the taxes. You hire all the people. You do everything yourself. Here's the money. And we'll own everything.
I'm Ben Shapiro, and we'll own everything.
Ooh, boy. It's over. We're done. It's out. I'm tired of him. I tap out. No more CEOs today. No more. I'm Alex R. Wagner. I've been your host today. I'm the Alex R. Wagner. Alex R. Wagner. I'm a little high right now, y'all. But Alex R. Wagner. And the R stands for real, as in the real Alex Wagner. Not the other Alex Wagner. Me, the real Alex Wagner. You can follow me at Real Alex R. Wagner on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow MV Pictures at the Instagram, the TikTok, and the YouTubes. And you can subscribe to MV Pictures on the iPhone and Apple TV directly, $40 a year. Just push that button, scan your face. Come on, help us out. No ad buys. We ain't playing no ad buys. No ad buys. No. All right. I will see you later tonight. It is 7 right now. I will see you at 10, maybe even 10:15 p.m. when we go through a little bit more of this with Kimberly to Persia, and then get down to the news of the week and see what else has been going on, because we've been paying attention to all this contract snafu shit. It's pretty hilarious seeing these guys blow up. But yeah, I will see you 10 p.m. tonight Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern. No News is News, where we watch the news.